Hello again, my students. Today we're going to study two topics, questions and prefixes. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to construct WH questions, transform affirmative sentences to WH questions in the present simple form, construct yes-no questions, and identify prefixes. To understand WH questions with the present simple tense, let's look at this sentence, the present simple tense. Lindsay works in a hotel in the evenings. What information does this sentence give us? The sentence gives us information about the agent, the one or the person who performs the action, Lindsay. It gives us information about the action itself, works. It also gives us information about the place where the action occurs or happens, and the time when the action happens or occurs. Here, we can ask questions about each bit of this information. So we can ask, who works in a hotel? Or, what does Lindsay do in the hotel? Or, when does she work? Or, where does she work? So we can ask about the agent, about the action itself, about the place or the time when the action occurred. WH questions are those questions which start with WH words or question words. And these question words like who, when, what, why, they all start with a WH. They all start with a WH. Actually, the only exception would be how. This is why we are calling this type of questions WH questions, because they start with a WH word. The structure of the WH question would go like this. First, we start with the WH word, when, why, where, what, or how, and then we use an auxiliary like do or does, and then the subject or the doer of the action, and the rest of the sentence. So let's practice together by transforming affirmative sentences into questions. The first example. Ali uses his phone in the early morning. We can ask a question about the time Ali uses his phone. When does Ali use his phone? We start with when, and then the auxiliary does, and then the subject Ali, and of course we chose the auxiliary does instead of do because Ali is singular. And then the main verb in the original form used, and we complete the sentence. So, when does Ali use his phone? We can ask other questions. What does Ali do in the early morning? And we can answer, Ali uses his phone in the early morning. Here we are asking about the action. We can ask about the agent, Ali. Who uses his phone in the early morning? And the answer will be Ali uses his phone in the early morning. Another example. My father works in a bank. Where does your father work? We started with the WH word, where, and then the auxiliary, does, the subject, your father, and then the main verb, work. We can ask about the place, here using where. And we can ask about the agent, who works in a bank? And the answer will be, my father works in a bank. And we can ask about the action. What does your father do in the bank? Father works in the bank. The third example. Every day of the week from 9 to 5. Here we have to understand or guess that we will be asking about a duration of time, about a time. So the question will be, when does he work? When does he work? We started with this WH word, when, and then the auxiliary, does, and the subject, he, then the main verb, work. So let's recap. The structure of the WH question will be first the WH word, then the auxiliary, then the subject, the main verb, and we can complete with the rest of the sentence. When we talked about WH questions, we noticed that the answers are open. We can provide any kind of information in the answer related to place, agent, the action itself, time, etc. But with the other kind of question, the yes-no questions, the answer would be either yes or no. So we can say that yes-no questions are closed questions, while WH questions are open questions. Here we say that yes-no questions are closed questions because they only require a yes or no as an answer. Let's have examples. Am I reading? Is he reading? Is she reading? Are you reading? Are we reading? Are they reading? Here, the structure of the yes-no question, it starts with the auxiliary. And here the auxiliary is a form of verb be in the present tense. Am, is, or are. And notice that the form of the main verb is the original plus ing, reading. Am I reading? Is he reading? Are you reading? Again, the structure is auxiliary, subject, and then the verb plus ing. In this case, the auxiliary will be a form of verb be. The auxiliary we start with may be a form of verb have, and we have here either have or has. Have is used with the pronouns I, you, we, you, and they, and also with all plural subjects. Has is used with the third person pronouns he, she, it, and also all singular nouns. Let's look at the examples. Have I moved? Have you moved? Have we moved? Have they moved? Has he moved? Has she moved? Has it moved? Here's the structure. We start with have or has as the auxiliary, then the subject, then the past participle. The form of the main verb here would be the verb plus ed, or the past participle of the verb. Then we have other examples of yes-no questions which start with do. And from the verb do, we can have either do, does in the present or did in the past. So we can say, do I run? Do you run? Do we run? Do they run? Does he run? Does she run? Does it run? Do is used with I, we, you, and they, and with all plural subjects. Does is used with he, she, it, and all singular subjects. Did is used with everything, with singular and plural nouns and with all pronouns. And here, notice that the verb itself, the main verb, is the original form of the verb. The last group of auxiliaries which can start a yes-no question is called modals. And we have here can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, and must. And the verb itself, the main verb, will also here, as in case of do, will also here be the original form of the verb. So we can say, can I run? Can you run? Can we run? Would you run? Shall you run? Etc. We have looked at the structure of yes-no questions, and we used a variety of auxiliaries, various forms of be, am, is, are, of the verb have and has, the verb do, does, and did, and also the modals. And we have noticed how the main verb is changed or affected by the use of the auxiliary. Now we look at the answers. We can have a positive answer starting with yes, or a negative answer starting with no. We can have a short answer or a long answer. Let's look at the examples and see this. Did you watch the film last night? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. These are short answers. A positive short answer, yes, I did, and a negative short answer, no, I didn't. We can have long answers. Yes, I watched the film last night. No, I didn't watch the film last night. Example number 2. Will you wait for me? Yes, I will. No, I won't. These are short answers. Long answers will be like this. No, I will not wait for you. No, I won't wait for you. Yes, I will wait for you. Example 3. Has he finished work yet? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Or a long answer like, yes, he has finished work. No, he hasn't finished work yet. Number 4. Would you get me a cup of coffee? Yes, I would. No, I wouldn't. Or a long answer like, yes, I would get you a cup of coffee. No, I wouldn't get you a cup of coffee. Example 5. Is your brother an engineer? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. A long answer like, yes, my brother is an engineer. No, my brother is not an engineer. Now we move to the second topic, prefixes. What is a prefix? A prefix is a letter or group of letters which are added to the beginning of a word. That's why it is called pre. It is added to the beginning of a word in order to form a different word. Prefixes come from affixes, and affixes means additions to words. And here it is a specific kind of fix. It is a prefix. It is a prefix. It means it is attached to the beginning of the word. And when we attach prefixes to the beginning of words, we have new words or different words. Let's have examples. The prefix this. When it is attached to a word, it gives the meaning of the opposite or something negative. Disadvantage, disconnect, disappear, discontinue. Prefix in, invisible, inaccurate, inactive, incapable, insignificant, inhuman, informal, ineffective, indifferent, incorrect. Prefix uncontrollable, unbelievable, unable, unchanged, uncomfortable, unexpected, unforgettable, unkind. Here we notice that this, in, and un, these prefixes are mainly used to form the opposite of words. Other examples of prefixes that are used to form the opposite of words include non and So we can add non to words like non-effective, non-aggressive, non-comparable, non-constant, non-controllable, non-digital, non-programmable, non-usable. And we can add to words like regular to form irregular. And we have also irrelative, irresponsive, irrational, irreplaceable. So here we have examples of 5 prefixes. We use them with words, and we have new forms or different words which express the opposite of the original meaning of the word without the prefix. Thank you for your listening.